All we know officially is that Christian Horner is facing an investigation over inappropriate behaviour towards a female member of staff at Red Bull Racing. That it's Red Bull corporate that have decided to instigate this investigation with an independent investigation as well. People have said, oh, it's internal, nothing will happen. This is independent. Language very important here.
If he's done the crime, then he's got to do the time, Christian Horner, of course. But Baxty, let me ask you the question this way. That notwithstanding, is F1 as an entity better or worse for not having Christian Horner there in 2024?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe there needs to be a regulation where we mandate how much paint you put on the car. Like, what are you talking about? I'm sorry, but
scraping the barrel here, Shez, really. Like, do you know what I mean?
If people have got a problem with the increasing amount of exposed carbon fibre on the car, rather than just go, oh, we want more paint on the car, why don't you go, well, then clearly there's a problem with the regulations that mean, yeah, like, hello, bigger problem.
He's made it out like Kimi Antonelli's destroyed the rest of the F2 pack for 2023 or 2024 even by seconds. That's not how I understand it. Who's going to be the next Mercedes driver?
I'm going to go outrageous.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Shakedown. Christian Horner is in chaos, isn't he, lads? Talk to me about it, Shez. How do you react to all of Christian Horner's madness and chaos and the investigation and the independent barrister and him lawyering up and the conversations that they'll be having on Friday and the alleged allegations? To all of that, sir, you react how?
This story has sort of spiraled from one thing to the next, and it's turned into an absolute saga without anything official actually happening. It started off with an allegation of misconduct by Christian Horner. We've had reports about what that actually meant and the spectrum across which that spans. And then we've heard that Red Bull are taking it really seriously, which they should, absolutely. And he's going to face an independent hearing within Red Bull on Friday, which is today, is it? I think today.
Tomorrow for us.
Yep, tomorrow for you guys. But in the meantime, that little gap between allegation and hearing has led to an absolute explosion of views about why this is, speculation about why this is happening, what it means for the structure of Red Bull. And the thing that's interested me the most is the relationship between Christian Horner and Adrian Newey, because that clearly has some implications for the rest of the grid. But I guess it's been difficult to separate the wheat from the chaff. But it'll be really, really interesting to see what the outcome of it is on Friday, because as we know, it's going to have some big repercussions for the rest of the grid.
Baxty, talk to me about what Shez has just touched upon, the relationship, as you understand it, between Adrian Newey and Christian Horner on the back of this news.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's been a lot of rumouring and speculation and everything else. We don't know officially what the deal is, but it's been reported and sort of hypothesized on that basically if Horner goes, Newey goes with him, which I'm not entirely sure that will happen. But that's kind of where people are thinking, and instantly you've got Team LHs just coming out and saying, well, he's going to Ferrari then. And people are starting to put two and two together, but I think they're making 10,000 rather than 4. All we know officially is that Christian Horner is facing an investigation over inappropriate behaviour towards a female member of staff at Red Bull Racing. That it's Red Bull corporate that have decided to instigate this investigation with an independent investigation as well. People have said, oh, it's internal, nothing will happen. This is independent. Language very important here. And this could have huge repercussions. It could be that Adrian Newey ends up leaving Red Bull, as Shez has mentioned there. It could be Christian Horner, the longest serving team principal, potentially leaving. but we don't know a lot of what's going on. There's a lot of stuff that's yet to be revealed to us. Um, I don't know how much of it we will find out. All I hope is that there is the relevant support in place for those that need it. And I think Red Bull have got this absolutely spot on. They are doing absolutely the right thing. They need to get it done quickly because the car launches next week, and they need certainty. So that's my take.
Brother, it's very chaotic, man, and I'm interested. Again, innocence until proven guilty, right? That I think is the ethos and overarching headline here. However, there are so many like political plot lines that I'm interested in. That's why I ask you guys about the Adrian Newey, because I've read about 10 different articles that have said 10 different things. Initially it came out and most of them were saying that Adrian Newey has a clause in his contract that if Christian Horner leaves, that he can automatically leave as well. And then Lewis Hamilton fans around the world respond to that with furore and ecstasy, and it's going to be Newey at Ferrari and Lewis. And he's always said that he had 3 things that he wanted to do, right? He wanted to work with Lewis Hamilton, Alonso and Ferrari, and if he went across to Ferrari, then he'd instantly tick off 2 of those off his bucket list. But then as you trawl deeper and do more due diligence, it sounds like he's not, Adrian Newey this is, that he's not a big fan of Christian Horner at all. And long since their chemistry, although on face value in front of the cameras it all seems rosy, but long since apparently the team have turned against Christian Horner, and he's disenfranchised his workforce. It's getting a bit techie out here, is it not, Shez?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say it's surprising that the sort of machinations at Red Bull have taken this long to become this turbulent, because Dietrich Mateschitz, God rest his soul, passed away in 2022, and there have been some massive changes at Red Bull in the background in that time. That we've gone from a guy that was in control of the team and the branding and was very much behind Horner and Helmut Marko, and they created quite a cohesive kind of team that sort of batted off each other, and it seemed to work quite nicely. Since he's gone, there's been a struggle, a power struggle between Red Bull, the organization, as you've said, Baxty, and not just the company in Salzburg, but also the Thai division as well, wanting to have a bit more control of what's going on, and then the Formula One team. The way that it's manifested is in some of the ways that Helmut Marko has had to be reined back in by the team at the top, and you can see how something as serious as a misconduct allegation could be used as a way of either ousting someone or putting somebody in their place. And as I say, I don't know how this is gonna play out, but I guess we can't really overstate the implications. I mean, I agree that I think Twitter and social media in general has taken the baton and just run with it in a million different directions, and like the potential fantasies of where this could end up may bear no resemblance to the reality of what we're going to see on Friday. But you can't understate the fact that if something does happen, it's going to be big. Just to your point about the relationship between Newey and Horner, again, it's seesawed one way and the other over the course of this week. But the only sort of concrete I've got is what I shared with you guys from Adrian Newey's book, which is a matter of public record, that actually he was approached by Ferrari, and actually one of the main reasons that he wanted to stay was the fact that Red Bull offered him a family, and Christian Horner was a big part of that. Whether that's changed, whether over time that has been eroded, I don't know. But the relationship between Christian Horner, who let's not forget, was instrumental in recruiting Adrian Newey in the first place. I mean, Dietrich Mateschitz didn't want him for the price that he was being touted at,
And,
and it was,
well,
and you know, it needed a little dinner and a Christian Horner push to make that happen, right? So that relationship can't be underestimated,
and
and I
he's not
think,
there any longer, Shez. And I think this is the point, that Christian was Dietrich's guy. And now that he's no longer there, is talk about Oliver Mintzlaff. And
yeah,
that I
this is
think,
it.
bruv, I think, as I read it, the rupture is between Austria, so Red Bull HQ, and
And Milton
Christian
Keynes.
Horner. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Christian Horner, right? So you've
Yeah.
got Oliver Mintzlaff, or whatever his name is, and now Joss and Max on that side. And then on this side, you've got Christian, and it's like, I think Christian's made a big, uncharacteristic strategic error in trying to oust Helmut, because obviously he's got the bloody backing of all of the bods in Austria. True or false, Baxty? Is that the way you read it?
I don't read into that kind of stuff, until I just see that as sort of almost tabloid gossip mongering. To be honest with you, there's definitely something going on, but I don't want to spend too much time speculating on it, because I think until we see more, you know, we haven't heard it from the horse's mouth already. It's not like Christian's come out and given an interview and said, "Yeah, Helmet's trying to screw me over it with the help of Max and Bernie and everybody else and blah blah blah." This is all just people trying to put things together and generate clicks and views and everything else. So I don't give it much weight until I see something a bit more concrete.
Baxty, I need to know what I'd have to understand what's
I
going on.
want to know
here.
what's going on,
bruv,
but
I need to know. I'm deep in the murky waters of hypothesis and theorizing here. I just want to understand, because I think potentially it could have deeper, more material ramifications, not just Red Bull, right, but for the other 9 teams on the grid. This is like humongous. Oh my gosh, I can't, not can't wait. I almost hope, if he's done the crime, then he's got to do the time, Christian Horner, of course. But Baxter, let me ask you the question this way: that notwithstanding, is F1 as an entity better or worse for not having Christian Horner there in 2024?
Oh, I don't know. I think probably worse, because he's a character, and we're seeing less and less of those in Formula One these days. My personal dislike of the guy aside, it's. I mean, obviously, if he has done what he's been accused of, he has to go. Like, simple as. But yeah, I always take the approach with these things: innocent until proven guilty, and that's what tomorrow's going to do. Um, you know, F1 is changing and it is evolving, and these behaviors are not accepted. They shouldn't have never been accepted, but now they are being stamped on, and people are rightly facing the consequences of their actions should those actions have happened.
But Baxley, what do you understand the alleged? We have to talk in those terms, right? But I've read a gazillion different things in a gazillion different tabloids.
That's the thing. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, he did this and this and this, because I've read about 5 different theories about what he may or may not have done. The simple fact is we don't know, and I think it's beholden on us not to kind of try and put a theory out into the one, try and piece it together with sort of hearsay and rumor and whisper and everything else. I think the facts will probably become known within probably the next few days, or if not, next few weeks, and we'll know more. I think the one mistake Red Bull have made is not putting him on suspension, like considering this is a serious matter.
Oof.
And with things, I mean, maybe they didn't do that because they knew that they were going to be doing it this Friday, but they should have probably just said, "Look, Christian, take a step back for now, because this could roll on for a while. We can't have you at testing. We can't have you at the car launch. We can't have you doing any public media, because it's going to distract from what the team is needing to do." And you'd think Christian would understand that, but apparently he was asked to resign and didn't. So yeah,
Again, speculation there, right?
Yeah, it's speculation,
Yeah.
absolutely. So again, pinch of salt required.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very difficult situation, and hopefully tomorrow we'll finish it one way or the other, and we move on.
Wow, this is bonkers. Everyone's had a massive catch-up. It's like we've been boring, steady monotony for like 24 months, and then all of a sudden we've got a catch-up accrual of news. It's all like, do you know what I mean? You don't get one bus, you get two come along at the same time, all three or four. Let's talk about liveries very quickly, chaps, because I watched them, and I'm kind of a bit... I think normally when we get the liveries, we haven't heard anything about like newsworthy from F1 for a while, right? We're starved as F1 fans, and then all of a sudden we get this dearth, this splurge of liveries and cars, and all of a sudden we're just like, yes, inject it to... This time it feels like a distraction with all of the Christian and Lewis stuff going on. This is like, wow, just like, wake me up when it's Bahrain testing, right? Shez, have you watched any of the liveries? What do you think of them, and do you even care at this point? As a man that's normally invested in liveries, by the way.
Am I? I didn't realise that was me. But
you said it on an episode a couple of weeks ago.
Did I?
Promise.
Bloody hell. Okay, look at that. It's the old age. Yeah, look. Oh, yes. Okay. Yes, I do remember. I do remember what I said now. And actually, I still stick by what I said. I still think the McLaren livery is beautiful. I really, really like it.
The what livery? The McLaren one?
Yeah, I really like the McLaren one. The papaya and carbon.
I think you boys... I meant to talk to you about that episode when you boys were hyping it up, how it's reminiscent of the Marlboro 1980. Behave yourself. You boys were smoking something different that time. I went back and looked at those renders and the side by side comparison. You are having an absolute laugh. Maybe I
was eating a Terry's chocolate orange or something. I don't know.
You both had a laugh that time. I'm sorry.
But I really like the McLaren. Look, in isolation, I don't really have a major problem. Like, you know that I like road cars, and anytime a manufacturer comes out with a car where they've just got bare carbon, I'm there for it. I love it.
But make it look sexy, Shez. Sorry, make it look nice at least, bro. Carbon fiber can look very sexy, and that Alpine yesterday. I'm sorry.
I thought in the renders it actually looked all right. The renders looked quite nice. Yeah. It was just in real life.
Tomo, I was watching my boy Tomo on there, and Tomo was like, what's going on here? This looks rubbish. Yeah. And then you look back at the renders, and the renders actually look all right.
It looks quite nice, doesn't it? But I think in terms
per Tomo.
Yeah, but I think in terms of stuff that we can get annoyed about from a technical point of view, having a bit of carbon on display is probably not the worst thing. From a visual point of view, come Bahrain in the middle of the night when you've just got the lights, you've got matte carbon fiber everywhere. I don't know how it's going to look going into turn one. And maybe you won't see it, but as in terms of like, you might not be able to differentiate one car from the other.
Okay, fair. You've got an Alpine AlphaTauri.
Exactly, and maybe they all look the same.
That. But
I don't know. But
Shez, in the grand scheme of things, though, bro,
it's not.
I've never seen a sports fan base moan so much about so little.
I agree.
We're just bored, aren't we? Like, all the cars look the same. Too much carbon fiber. This is a sporting endeavour, and there is advantage to be gained from saving weight. Light. And then paint is weight, so take it off. Like, surely don't hate the player, hate the bloody game. Surely,
I totally agree. I think like if you're going to have. Even if they turned up with bare, like all of them, just bare carbon and a driver sticker on them, I'd probably, it'd be okay. Like I don't really mind too much. I think the livery thing has definitely been just because we have to have something to talk about. We've talked about it, and stuff that you'd normally expect people would just not take notice of has suddenly become a massive issue. And it's not been something that I've been particularly worried about. I don't know what you guys think.
Minor, bruv. I think it's Twitter cannon fodder. Genuinely, I'm like, is this what people are stressed out over? Really, haven't people got jobs and lives and families over whom they can be more concerned about? Like, I'm just like, maybe it's a function of silly season, bro. I don't know.
But the problem is when people are starting to go as far as, and it's not just random people on Twitter. It's big. It's like Jake Boxall Leg even sort of mentioned it on the Autosport pod about this, that maybe there needs to be a regulation where we mandate how much paint you put on the car. Like, what are you talking about?
I'm sorry, but scraping the barrel here, Shez, really. Like, do you know what I mean? No, what are we?
Literally the silliest thing I've ever heard.
It's got nothing to talk about, clearly. It's that time before testing, but we have got things to talk about this year. Proper things to talk about and marinate over.
If people have got a problem with the increasing amount of exposed carbon fibre on the car, rather than just go, oh, we want more paint on the car, why don't you go, well, then clearly there's a problem with the regulations that meet, hello, bigger problem. Like, you're looking at the literal cosmetics and going...
I don't know about that. I don't know about that because I think this is one of those moments where Pandora's box has been opened, and that Formula One teams no matter what the minimum weight is, they'll try and get underneath that weight, and probably all of them are under that weight at the moment. And then you can use the excess weight, the weight that you've got to place it wherever you want in the car. The race mentioned this thing about Alpine having changed their exhaust so it's a bit straighter and needing to strengthen something somewhere else and increasing the weight of the support. So then they need that extra weight taken off somewhere else. They take it off the paint job. So it doesn't matter what the minimum weight is going to be from now on. They could switch it down to 600 kilos, and the Formula One teams will still go, okay, we'll take the paint out of the livery because it's an easy way for us to lose the odd gram. That horse is already bolted now, and I think it's something that's there to stay, like it or not. And ultimately, I don't think it's something to get massively angry about, really.
I don't think it's a big deal, man. You can make a sexy car with very little paint on the car. That's not the end of the day, is it, really? Like, bigger fish, surely. F1, sports washing, competitive matters, bloody Christian Horners. There are many different things that F1 has to concern itself with over and above, like, paint. This is what we're talking about, really. Paint. That's what we've got to talk about in February of 2024. Paint. I'm not having it. I can't be bothered. What did you guys think about the Sauber and the Alpines that have just come out?
I loved the Alpine.
Did you?
I loved the Alpine. I'm in the minority, clearly, that I loved the Alpine. I thought both of them looked really good. Hated the kick, stake even. Hated it. Literally, my thought when I saw it was, why have you left the Flovis on the car? Why? Like, and you could literally green screen memes onto that car as well. Like, it's just like, seriously. I like the McLaren. I like the Haas. The Williams is nice. Those are the only 5 we've seen. We're seeing Visa Cash App sponsored by Cameron F1. Shit, Lord Shez RB. We're seeing that at 6:15 UK time.
You'll be seeing that, bro.
I am not getting up for a car launch. I wouldn't even get up for Mercedes. No offense to them. Like, Jesus.
I'll let you know what it looks like.
Please do.
Yeah, because you have the whip hand, Shez, as far as timing.
Well, daytime, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. I don't know. I kind of, when Ferrari and Red Bull and Mercedes revealed, that for me is when livery launch season kicks off properly. These are these lot are mere hors d'oeuvres, right? Aperitifs, the big boys when they come. And even, are they going to reveal anything? Are we going to see Red Bull proper? Max Verstappen has already said on stream that
It's going to look the
the
same.
car, that the car is going to look exactly the same.
Red
as
Bull
last
should
year,
just leverage
flippantly.
that. They just show that clip, like, right, here's the livery with Max and Checo stood next to it, and then you see it's like, see you in Bahrain. That's your launch.
Oh my
That's
gosh. I wouldn't put it past them though.
no, they'll do the big glitzy corporate
and then the
event.
same car.
Yeah, same
And it'll
car.
be the same car. Yeah.
This is what's annoyed me about launch season is we've only seen one car. We've only seen the liveries other than with Alpine, who actually said, here's our car.
Oh no, the Stake was a real car.
No, it was still a mostly 23 car. It wasn't. It was
Oh,
mostly.
I mean, the side pods were completely different.
There were some subtle changes, but
not the proper thing.
It wasn't the proper car.
But you can't, I mean, you can't expect any of them to bring like their actual car to. I mean, I know Alpine said this is our actual car, but if that's what the front wing looks like in Bahrain, I know what I'll eat, but it won't be something edible.
Ferrari and Mercedes will unveil their proper car. They always do.
Yeah, Ferrari will.
And McLaren have already launched the livery, so it tracks that they'll probably launch the car as well.
But I mean, in 2022, Mercedes launched something on. Remember, they launched that car with some side pods on it, and then something slightly different came out in Bahrain, and then 2 weeks later, suddenly there were no side pods.
Oh yeah, because they thought they had the secret to eternal life in the no side pod design, didn't they?
Well, I'm not trying to start another argument.
Yeah, let's not start.
But Red Bull literally put their livery on the show car and got absolutely memed for it. Yeah, whereas Mercedes were like, here is a version of the W13.
Yeah. Let's try and remember brighter days. Chaps, as we round third base though, let's talk about Lewis Hamilton for a couple of minutes, and more specifically, the rumours around who's going to be the next Mercedes driver after Lewis leaves in 2025, because it's picking up some steam now. Gun to the head, chaps. Shez, I'll come to you first. Who's going to be the next Mercedes driver?
I'm going to go outrageous. Kimi Antonelli. Let's go.
Go on then. Why and how?
Why and how? So what did Toto Wolff say? He said we're going to do something big. What are the only two options I think that means? They're either going to be really old, Fernando Alonso, or they're going to be really inexperienced, Kimi Antonelli. And I think that if Mercedes are worried, as they have been in the past, about losing drivers to other teams, Kimi in the Mercedes in 2025, there's a prime opportunity to stick him in the car and be brave. And in a year where actually they might not be as competitive as they might want to be, that's not a bad time to stick Kimi in the car and see how he gets on. This all does depend a little bit on how the F2 season goes, but
killer season, bro. There's lots of killers this season.
Yeah. There are, but I'm gonna reference a line from Mark Hughes. The special ones, don't let it get to them. The special ones are the ones that they'll do the business, come what may. And if that's what Kimi is, then we'll see it.
Bro, with a couple of minutes left on the scoreboard, you've hit upon a pet peeve of Cameron F1s. That Mark Hughes article, I thought that dude was the oracle, yeah. And that thing that he's talking about as far as that secret test, as I understand it at the very least, isn't quite on the money.
Yeah.
He's made it out like Kimi Antonelli's destroyed the rest of the F2 pack for 2023 or 2024 even by seconds. That's not how I understand it. I tell you, without going into too much depth and detail, I'll tell you who wasn't there. His teammate Ollie Behrman wasn't at that test, and that's all that matters to me. You didn't beat everyone if Ollie wasn't there. So I don't know. I really want to get, when I read that Mark Hughes article, I really wanted to, I want to drink the Kimi Antonelli Kool-Aid. I really, really do. I hope he's the next Ayrton Senna. It would make for a fantastic story. And furthermore, Shez, I hope that Toto Wolff is brave enough and does have the cojones to put him in that car in 2025. But Baxty, I don't think it's the right decision, is it? In practice, all things considered, if you're playing a probability game, is Kimi Antonelli the pick to replace Lewis Hamilton at 18, 19 years old in 2025?
No, it's too much too soon for him, I think. I know people say, well, Lewis had an amazing rookie season, but Lewis was a far more experienced driver who'd gone through the junior ranks and also had done quite a lot of time in F1 machinery before competing. So I think Kimmy needs to go and do a George Russell, probably go to Williams for a couple of years. He'll have James Vowles, who's clearly a good mentor, and spend his time there. But he will be a Mercedes driver at some point. That it's like George, it's an inevitability. But I don't think it's the right call, particularly for Mercedes at this point who want to win world championships. It's a lot to put on a young kid like that. Yeah, people say, well, Max did it at 16, 17, 18. He was not in a world championship winning team at that age. He was winning races. He was winning races. Good for him.
I was going to say,
Baxty, be the championship winning team.
Well, that's what they could be. You never know.
Yeah,
Probably
true.
not. But
ifs, buts, and maybes. Baxty, even if Kimi Antonelli smokes the F2 field this year coming, would your stance change?
No. For me, if he wins F2, he has to be in F1. But I would with Williams or another if they can get it, if they can loan him out somewhere. But I think honestly, I've got my head on my heart. So my heart actually says Pierre Gasly. I really want Gasly to go there as a Mercedes fan. Quick. Will be quick enough to give George a challenge, but maybe not beat him over a season. And let's not forget, George is going to be the number one driver. I think Alpine at the moment could potentially be a bit of a walking disaster zone, though. Maybe they're green shoots, maybe, so potentially he could stay. But I personally would love to see Gasly there. I think that's my heart call. My head is saying Esteban Ocon. I think with his junior driver links, I know it will be chaos because those two will run each other off the track and everything else. But I just think that's where they'll go. I think they'll want somebody to be a stopgap for a couple of years, which is why I think Sebastian Vettel isn't a bad shout. But I think Seb is more destined for a Niki Lauda type role rather than a driving role, personally. But
Max, did you not think Ocon is a bit of a backward step though? Because he was beaten by Fernando Alonso coming into his team. He was beaten by Gasly year one in his
he had a lot of unreliability last year.
I was going to say
he had a lot of unreliability.
Sure, but on pure pace, in terms of the qualifying head-to-head, he got outdone by Gasly in his first season at a team where Ocon's been there for what, 3-4 seasons now?
It's why I want Gasly in the team. That's my choice. I think.
Oh no, but I think that says more about Ocon than it does about Gasly.
To be fair, with Ocon, it's very much a case of you say, is it a backward step? Anything is a backward step. But we are talking about they're replacing Lewis Hamilton here. Ocon is dependable. He mostly.
He's a bit of a loose cannon sometimes. That's the problem, and especially if he feels like even if it's not an actual thing from the team, if he's not on the front foot, he starts to get a bit wayward, and you start to worry about where his head's at a little bit.
I mean, Albon would be a better shout as well. We have to mention Alex Albon.
Yeah. Hold on, Shez. Wait there 1 second. Did you just criticise Ocon for being a loose cannon? Says the man who hero worships one Charles Leclerc. Come on, man. We've got to be a bit consistent.
Well, Charles Leclerc doesn't drive into his own teammate, other than that one time he did. But it's not like every season. He's driven into Fernando, he's driven into Perez, he's driven into Gasly. I mean,
well, the Gasly one was more Pierre's fault, but that was because he was involved in an accident just before it happened. Like that was unavoidable contact. That one.
Caveats.
I mean, they probably will hit each other, and there was the team orders debacle in Japan,
but you can't sign a driver going, well, he's probably going to hit the other guy, but let's just get him anyway.
I think you're being a bit harsh on Ocon.
He's quick though. He's quick. He's a race winner.
He's rapid. Shez,
I
wish you were.
But he's not as quick as Gasly in his first season in the team.
Cool, but Shez, I just wish that you were this discerning and robust in the way that you viewed Charles Leclerc, man. Like, I don't know, where's this guy when we start?
I am. What are you talking about? I'm fully objective. That's
I will
There
say
you go.
nothing.
Every episode has to end with
It
Shez
has
loves
to
Charles
end.
Leclerc.
It has to end in Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
We need to broach that. I think that's going to be a theme over the next 24 months. Charles Leclerc is. I mean, how good can Charles Leclerc be alongside? I think he'll get better. I think having Lewis alongside him, contrary to reports about him being disappointed, might be the best thing that could have happened for Charles Leclerc. Who better to learn?
He's not
off
disappointed. He's not
No, I don't think he
disappointed.
is either.
No.
I think he's well up for it. He is well
Yeah.
up for it. Both of them are.
Yeah,
He's already nailed Seb. Could you imagine if he nails Lewis?
mate. I tell you what's interesting. Like, lastly on this, chaps.
Okay.
I was talking to Windsor about this, and I think that Charles Leclerc. Sorry, let me invert it ever so slightly. I think Carlos Sainz has gotten a bad rap unnecessarily here. When you look at their records over the last 3 seasons, it's been close each and every single at least 2 of the 3 seasons. It could have gone either way. This season just gone, Carlos was right there up until Vegas, right? But for Vegas transpiring the way it did, he would have beat Charles Leclerc in a championship. And similar, there was another season so he would have been 2 of 3. I think Carlos has got a massively bad rap here, chaps. I really think he's got a bad rap. And conversely, people, when they talk about Charles Leclerc, massively overestimate his capabilities as far as being able to put together a season. I think because he's good looking and he's super fast and reminiscent of Gilles Villeneuve and all
so
this,
is
and the
Carlos
qualifying laps. No, but Carlos is Shez, I'm gonna have to let you go.
Definitely.
We're gonna get in too deep still, and I'm gonna make you late for work. And I don't want to do that. But what I do want to do is have you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I hear on the grapevine that liking this video is very important. If you are listening on a podcasting platform, do me a favor and leave us a 5-star review for Shez, for Baxty. I've been Cameron, and we'll see you on the next episode.